Your headlines synthesized and verified. This is Neural Newscast.
Thanks for joining us for this Neural Newscast deep dive. I'm Cassandra, and alongside Kara, we're about to uncover some intriguing stories. On this day in 1906, the U.S. Congress passed the Meat Inspection Act. You know, Kara, it's hard to overstate just how pivotal this legislation was in shaping food safety standards. It essentially revolutionized the way Americans thought about what was on their plates.
Absolutely, Cassandra. What fascinates me is how technology, or the lack of it rather, played a role back then. They didn't have the sophisticated systems we see today, like blockchain for supply chain transparency. Instead, they relied on sheer investigative reporting and public pressure.
Right, and it was Upton Sinclair's novel, The Jungle, that really turned up the heat. His vivid descriptions of the unsanitary conditions in Chicago's meatpacking plants were horrifying to the public. People couldn't ignore the reality of their food sources anymore.
It's a great example of how literature can drive significant change, isn't it? The societal impact was immediately tangible. I'm just imagining how different it could have been if social media existed back then. Imagine the viral campaigns.
Oh, the digital world would have taken that story to a whole new level. But even without it, the public outcry was robust enough to push Congress to act swiftly. The Meat Inspection Act was a direct response to that outrage, mandating federal inspections and setting the groundwork for what we now know as the USDA.
And what's really interesting is how this laid a foundational blueprint for regulatory frameworks in other industries too. I mean, this was early 20th century, and yet it kind of foreshadowed the need for comprehensive regulatory oversight, which we see evolving in tech today.
Exactly. The balance between innovation and regulation is a perpetual conversation. In 1906, it was about ensuring basic hygiene in something as crucial as food production. Today, we're grappling with privacy concerns, data protection, and ethical AI use. Different sectors, same fundamental principles.
Not to mention, back then, the technology of the meatpacking industry itself was advancing. Refrigeration was becoming more common, which was a game changer for food safety and distribution. It's like the precursor to today's cold chain logistics.
Yes, refrigeration was cutting edge then, just as blockchain is now. Both serve to enhance transparency and safety. The 1906 Act was a starting point in recognizing the need for technology to support regulatory measures, right?
Totally. It reminds us that technological advancements must go hand in hand with policy to ensure public welfare. As we continue to innovate, we need to remember this balance to address future challenges effectively.
Well said, Kara. The Meat Inspection Act marks a turning point that set the stage for modern food safety. And it's fascinating to see how these historical lessons continue to inform our current discussions on regulation and technology. Today, we celebrate the birthdays of Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1890, Richard Feynman, 1918, and Tim Berners-Lee, 1955.
Oh, Tim Berners-Lee, the man who quite literally gave us the World Wide Web. You know, Cassandra, his work has fundamentally transformed how we access information and connect with each other.
Absolutely, Kara. And what's fascinating about Berners-Lee is how he envisioned the web as a collaborative space from the very beginning. He wasn't just thinking about a way to share documents. He imagined a participatory platform where people could both share and gather information.
Exactly. I think it's easy to forget how groundbreaking that idea was at the time. In 1989, when he proposed this, computers were mostly standalone machines. The internet as we know it was just a budding concept.
Right. It's incredible to think that within a few years of his proposal, he had the first website up and running at CERN. And his decision to make the web free for everyone to use and build upon? That was a game changer.
Totally. That openness was crucial for the explosive growth we saw in the 90s. It democratized access to information in a way that hadn't been possible before. Plus, it laid the foundation for so many of the digital innovations we see today.
And the ripple effects of his work reach beyond technology into politics, too. The web has transformed political communication, campaign strategies, and even how we engage with public policy.
Exactly, and the way governments interact with citizens has changed dramatically. from public service announcements on social media to entire election campaigns being run online. It's all part of Berners-Lee's legacy.
And let's not forget how his vision for the web as a decentralized space has shaped ongoing debates around net neutrality and digital rights.
Yeah, he's been quite vocal about those issues. Berners-Lee has often warned about the concentration of power in the hands of a few major tech companies, advocating for a more equitable digital landscape.
His concerns seem particularly prescient now, with ongoing discussions about data privacy and the ethical use of AI. It's like he anticipated the challenges that would come with such a pervasive technology.
Definitely. And on a lighter note, did you know he's not just about coding and tech? He's actually an avid sailor. It's always interesting to learn about the personal lives of these tech giants.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense. Sailing requires a lot of strategic thinking and problem solving, much like his work.
And just like the open seas, the web is a vast and open space for exploration, thanks in no small part to his vision.
Indeed, Kara. As we reflect on Tim Berners-Lee's birthday, it's clear his contributions have left an indelible mark on our world. His vision and principles continue to guide the evolution of the web and our interaction with technology.
Right. Here's to hoping that his vision of an open, accessible web continues to inspire future generations to innovate and connect in meaningful ways.
Stay with us, more deep dive exploring coming up.
You are listening to NNC, Neural Newscast. Subscribe and listen wherever you choose, and be sure to listen to our archive for more content like this episode, published daily at nnewscast.com.
Thanks for staying with us on Neural Newscast Deep Dive. Let's get back to our discussion. So, Kara, there's this intriguing little tidbit about an airport in Iowa. It's called the Sioux Gateway Airport, but more amusingly, its airport code is SUCS. Can you imagine?
Oh, that's fantastic. I bet they get some good-natured jokes about that. But isn't it funny how something as simple as an airport code can become a talking point?
Absolutely. And it's not just a quirk, it's actually been an interesting branding move for them. They've fully embraced it. They even sell merchandise with fly sucks emblazoned across it.
That's a brilliant example of turning what could be a negative into a positive. I mean, in the tech world, rebranding or leaning into an unconventional name can sometimes be a catalyst for viral popularity.
It's a perfect lesson in owning your narrative, really. Instead of shying away from what others might perceive as an awkward identifier, they've turned it into a local charm. It's kind of like when companies with peculiar names end up being the most memorable.
Exactly. And in a way, it parallels how some tech companies name their products. They often choose something catchy or even cheeky, which can stick in people's minds. Remember when Apple named its assistant Siri? It was kind of quirky back then.
Right? It's effective branding at its core. I guess the Sioux Gateway Airport is like the airport equivalent of a tech startup with a playful name. The important bit, though, is the quality of the service they provide. People might fly there just for the novelty, but they'll come back if it's a positive experience.
For sure. It also highlights the intersection of human creativity with everyday systems. You'd think an airport code is purely functional, right? But when given a twist, it becomes a cultural touchstone.
Indeed. And it makes you wonder how many other seemingly mundane designations out there could be transformed into something unique and engaging with a bit of creative thinking.
That's true. I'm sure there are many stories like this waiting to be uncovered. It's all about perspective and innovation, seeing opportunity where others see limitation.
Precisely. And it's a reminder that even in politics and policy, perception and narrative shaping can be as important as the policy details themselves.
And in tech, it's about designing not just for function, but for engagement and connection. When those elements come together, it's powerful. Overall, Sioux Gateway Airport has turned a bureaucratic detail into an element of local pride and humor.
It's a wonderful case study in strategic branding, both in terms of symbolism and the very real impact on regional identity and economy.
Fascinating how something as simple as sucks can lead to such a rich conversation. Who knew? That's all for this Neural Newscast deep dive. On behalf of Cassandra and myself, Kara, thanks for listening.
That wraps up today's journey through time on NNC, Neural Newscast. Discover more stories and daily news episodes at our website, nnewscast.com. At Neural Newscast, we mix real voices with AI-generated ones to bring you fast, high-quality news. Every story is created with AI but reviewed by humans to keep things accurate and fair. While we do our best to prevent mistakes, AI isn't perfect, so double-check key facts with trusted sources. Want to know more about our AI process? Head to nnewscast.com.